Hello students, welcome back to another online lecture of the online lecture series initiated by Shet Vidya Mandir, English High School and Junior College of Science and Commerce, Vasai. I am Mrs. Snehal Falkau. Students, today we are going to study a poem from section 2 of your English course book. The name of the poem is Have You Earned Your Tomorrow by Edgar Guest. Let us learn more about the poet. Edgar Albert Guest was a British-born American poet who was popular in the first half of the 20th century. He was born in England and was brought to the United States when he was 10 years old. Guest is an American writer of newspaper and magazines. When his father lost his job in 1893, 11-year-old Edgar began working odd jobs after school. In 1895, he was hired as a copy boy for the Detroit Free Press. He began his writing career in 1895 at the age of 14. His father died when he was 17 and he was forced to drop out of high school and work full-time at the newspaper. He worked his way up from a page boy to a job in the news department. He considered himself a newspaper man who wrote verses. Edgar Guest is known as a people's poet for his simple, uplifting style and optimistic tone of writing. His poems often had an inspirational and optimistic view of everyday life. About the poem. Have You Earned Your Tomorrow is a 4-stanza poem that is separated into sets of 4 lines or quatrains. This is an inspirational poem. As a reader, one will immediately notice reading the poem that the text is marked by questions directed at the reader. Each stanza contains at least 2, sometimes 3 questions which probe at a one's treatment of others. In this poem, the speaker is asking the readers whether they have done anything to improve the life of another human being or not. It is up to us whether we will have a better future or not. Therefore, one should consider one's actions and deeds carefully and plan accordingly for a better future. Now, let us read the poem Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? Have you earned your tomorrow? Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? This day is almost over and its toiling time is through. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? Or a churlish sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng? Were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Can you say tonight in parting with the days that's slipping fast that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed? Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say, "You have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today"? By Edgar Guest. Now, let us look at the stanza-wise analysis of the poem. Stanza 1. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? This day is almost over and its toiling time is through. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Dear students, in the first stanza of the poem, the speaker begins with a question. In the entire poem, the you the speaker speaks of refers to the readers, that is, us. He questions the readers, that is, us, if today we made anyone's day any happier because we passed their way, that is, did we perform any act of kindness when we met others? This question is followed by a second question, then later a third. With the second question, he questions the reader if there was anyone you spoke to today who remembers you. That is, was our speech polite enough that someone remembers us because of how politely or lovingly we spoke to them today? The most important part of these two questions are the emphasis on unprompted kindness. The speaker says that the day has now almost come to an end and the toiling time is through. That is, the time spent in hard physical work is now over. The hours are running out for us to make a positive impact on others. The speaker emphasizes this by asking the last question of this stanza. He questions us if there is anyone to utter now a kindly word about us. That is there anyone now who can speak of us kindly just because we were kind to them? Stanza 2. Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? Or a churlish sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng? Were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? The second stanza also begins with a question. Here, the speaker questions if any time during the day we greeted a friend cheerfully, that is, in a happy and delightful manner. The friend the speaker is speaking of can be anyone whom we know and need not necessarily be someone whom we know very closely or dearly. The speaker questions us if we were cheerful in our disposition when a friend came along, and rather than a cheerful, heartfelt hello, did we just serve that friend a churlish, that is, rude howdy. Howdy is an informal, friendly greeting. And after that, did we just disappear in the throng, that is, crowd or a large number of people? The speaker asks us if we were purely selfish to have treated that friend in a way described earlier, that is, giving a churlish howdy instead of a heartfelt greeting. As if the speaker is hoping for the opposite response, he questions us if, instead of being rude and selfish, have we acted any differently in such a kind way that someone somewhere is grateful, that is, thankful for the deed, that is, the act that we did today. Stanza 3. Can you say tonight, in parting with the days that's slipping fast, that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed? Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? The third stanza begins with a longer question. The speaker questions the readers if tonight, as the day ends, can we say that we have helped or have been kind to a single person of the many people that we have come across today? Is there a single person rejoicing because of the polite speech that we used while talking to them, or a kind act with which we helped them? Was there a man who had lost all hopes, and your kind act has now made him look ahead in life with renewed courage? An action like this would be sufficient for us to have earned a tomorrow. Stanza 4. Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say, "You have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today"? In the fourth stanza, the speaker questions us if we have wasted or lost our day by not trying to improve or make a difference in someone else's life. Or have we spent our day sorely, that is, badly, or if it was well spent by helping others? The speaker questions us if we have left behind a trail of kindness or a scar, that is, a mark of discontent, that is, dissatisfaction. At the end of the poem, the poet presents his last question to the reader. He questions us if we think God would speak to us as we close our eyes in slumber tonight, that is, in a state of sleep. And would God say to us that we have earned another tomorrow because of the good work we did today? At the end of the poem, an indirect message is conveyed that if we have done well throughout the day, God might look kindly on all our actions of the day and present us a better tomorrow. This was the stanza-wise analysis of the poem. Students, what message do we learn from the poem? It is very simple. Treat others kindly. The poem gives a very simple message that we need to treat others kindly. Too often, we think of ourselves as overly important, as being above certain rules. But this poem helps us remember that others have value and they will remember us for good or ill, depending largely on how we treat them. We don't have control over everything in the world, but we do have control over ourselves and how we treat others. And we can choose to recognize the value of others. Not so much because what they will think of us, but because it is simply the right thing to do. That's all from today's video. Thank you.